Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth United with me, Nathan Oakley. If you're new to this channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with videos from Nathan Oakley 1980. I'll be shortly joined by D Marble, so I'm going to fire out the share link. This stream, this OBS stream, will serve as a behind the scenes look at what's going on, so I'll often interact with the chat and perhaps even put it on screen, so please be cordial in the chat. It is on slow mode, so hopefully there won't be any spam from people who are prepared to wait the 2 or 3 seconds to get multiple firings of the same garbage in the chat room, but hopefully it'll be nice and friendly. If you are going to share the link, feel free. There will be a secondary link which is also in the information box below this video to the actual live stream, which will get a full introduction from myself for D Marble when he does arrive. I'm hoping to kick that show off in about 10 or 15 minutes time, so in the meantime, while I share the link on Skype and Facebook, I'm going to pop my photographs up and bring the chat up on my iPad so I can hopefully see if there's anybody watching and interact with them while we wait for D Marble to arrive. When he does arrive, I will give him a brief explanation that this show will continue when the actual live stream, the Google Plus Hangout on air, ends, so that he knows not to say something that he perhaps might not want to or might not ought to if he wasn't live streaming. But yeah, it was interesting yesterday. We got to chat, myself and several other potatoes, if you'll call them that. Got to chat with D Marble, and nice guy, very down to earth, telling us all about his chat with Bob. Great. And from what he was saying, it seems like Bob is just yet another regular guy doing his thing. Yes, he's got fame, but still just another guy. People are people. Stay with me just a few moments while I share this link. On my Hangout page, let's see if Marble does join. Oh, he's come online on Skype, so hopefully he'll be with us shortly. It's behind the scenes feed into Skype. Shouldn't really talk away from the mic. Probably can't hear a word I'm saying. Right, so that's that done. Let's transition back and see if we have got anybody in our chat room. Ah, we have. Excellent stuff. Let's say a few shout outs. So, hello to Sandler Jansen. Good to see you. Greetings from the Netherlands. Headlines debunked. Good to see you as well. Slightly over here so I can actually look at the camera while I do this, or sort of look at the camera. Bit less unnerving. Stephen Chess, good to see you. Martin Liedke, fellow potato. Jan Smith, good to have you here. Good evening to you too. Celebrate Truth, Robbie Davidson, good to have you here. You'll be talked about this evening. Your ears were burning, I don't doubt. Joey Slive, hello all, he says. Musicians for Truth. Hey everyone, what's up? Sky, the sky is definitely up. Bob Bad 2. Ready for the Reds Rhetoric DFOTY Awards. Yep, I sure am. Not that I've ever watched DF of the Year Awards. Joey Slive, already said hello to you. Brandon Cook, hello, good to see you. Hello to you too. Flat Earth Underground, hello. Just puts a full stop, presumably checking that you're not banned. Nobody should be banned from this channel, so come one, come all, come one Globeheads, come one Flat Earthers. It's an open chat room. That said, there has been instances, Gem Panda got in touch and said, please can you unban my main account? And I quickly pointed out that it shouldn't be banned in the first place. I assumed I'd unbanned absolutely everybody. But if you are banned, feel free to drop me an email at nathanoakley1980@aol.com. And regardless of who you are, you will be unbanned. I have no objection to anybody being in the chat room. As I said earlier, the slow mode is on, so you can't actually directly spam endless garbage, one message after the next to fill up the chat room. And that's my main objection, and always has been. We've been joined by D Marble. Hello, D Marble. How you doing? Can you hear me? I can't hear you yet.
All right, here, let me.
There we go.
Work on this.
So,
all right.
Just going to bring up my
Mr.
mixing
Oakley, how
desk
are you?
to see how loud you are. Can you just say testing, testing or something?
Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8.
Not bad, not
All
bad.
right. Continue. I could bring the volume down on the mic a little bit.
How am I doing? I might turn me down as well. If I can find my remote. I'll tell you this straight away. So we are broadcasting now to a very limited audience. So before and after the show, I do an OBS feed. So right now, people can actually hear you. So just so you're aware. And then when I'll do a proper introduction and start the actual Google Plus Hangouts on air, maybe in 5 minutes. But when that finishes, just don't be caught out, because this part that is broadcasting as we speak will still run afterwards. So if we have anything interesting that doesn't get said on the show, it might end up getting captured on this. The reason being, you'd end up pressing stop on the Google Plus Hangout on air. It's just a psychological trick, really. But people would then breathe deeply and then blurt out the best flat earth proof they've ever had that they just didn't include on the show. You know what I mean?
Ah, yes.
Cool.
Okay.
So, you got all your work done? You're all done for the day?
I have more editing to do. Actually, a video. There was a flight from Paris to Los Angeles. Had some engine trouble. I got it much done. I just have to add a couple more things, smooth it out, and I'll get it uploaded right after or shortly after this.
Okay, you're dropping in and out a little bit. Are you on a proper computer?
I am on my laptop. I could.
No, don't worry. All you need to
go
do,
somewhere else.
If you move your mouse over the Hangout page, on the top you've got like the red telephone, the cog, and then you've got 3 lines.
Mm-hmm.
If you click on that, and then just lower it 1 notch.
Okay. Let's see.
You see what I mean?
I see. All right, just a second.
Yeah, just if you move your mouse over the Hangout page, it should bring up like a row at the top, red telephone, settings, adjust bandwidth use, turn off camera, microphone, and if you adjust bandwidth use, just one notch lower will probably do it.
All right, let me see. Limit bandwidth, camera.
Oh, you do that.
All right, just a second. Okay, so I've attempted to limit the bandwidth. Seems to smooth it just a little. All right, no. All right.
Have a go with that then.
How are we doing now?
Pretty good. I think that's pretty much sorted. I'll say if it doesn't, if it ends up breaking up. But
let me see.
Are you in the same spot as yesterday?
No, I don't think so. You're
probably never in the same spot, are you?
The bandwidth, we should be okay. I'm always in different places around the city. I've got about 5 spots. I just park it every now and then.
No, presumably spots that you don't get hassled or have your windows knocked.
It's possible. It's possible. There's always someone who will come up to the van, take some pictures, and then it's always funny when that happens.
Cool. What do you like to be called? D Marble? What's your preference?
Be D. It doesn't matter.
D. You good with D?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Shoot. Gosh, I kind of want to go to another. I could take maybe 8 minutes or so to get to another spot.
That's right. Move if you want to move. No rush. There's nobody keeping our schedule for us. You know what I mean? We can do what we like.
Okay.
Yeah, move if you want to move.
All right. Where to go? Okay. I'm gonna hop off and go find that works out a little more consistently, not too far from here.
This is your bandwidth, your Wi-Fi points.
Right. So here I got a guy in his truck taking pictures of my van right now.
Oh, right.
He's in there taking pictures right now. Can you see him?
I've just put the camera on you. Yeah, I see him.
I told you. Have
Fair enough.
He's over there. His tinted window was like click.
That's good. That's good.
It's hilarious. Okay, so I'm gonna hop off real quick and go find my hat, and hopefully things will work out a little bit better.
Okay, see you in maybe 10 minutes.
Yep. All right. Bye.
Bye. Those magical moments that I have these behind the scenes hangouts for. Because what would we have done if we hadn't had that riveting conversation? Let's go back to the chat, see what's going on in there. So yeah, there will be a short interlude of around 8 minutes. Apparently. So who have we got? Ukdina Walker, pleased to have you here. I was in the other place. Yes, so this stream serves as a rolling advert, Ukdina. So in the info box below, there's a link to the other stream, which serves two purposes. So if you are tiring of whoever is in the chat room, if for the sake of argument, Ukdina Walker and Headlines Debunked just did not see eye to eye about headline debunking, then you can go to the other chat room and hopefully there'll be a completely different crowd in there with undoubtedly a whole different bunch of stuff to talk about. So yeah, feel free to pop across to the chat when the main Google Plus stream starts, which will be in about 7 minutes time, I imagine. Carlos Peguero, what's up everyone? Sky's definitely up. Yeah, Flat Earth and other hot potatoes. Hello. 3 cats, heart, and a potato. Good to have you here. Arwin. Connection is key. Sounds like a deep conversation that I wasn't paying attention to, Arwin. I'm sure you'll explain shortly. Hori Sheet Show, good to have you here. Maggie M says hello to Patricia. Adam Young says sup y'all. AJ Slive, Hori. No one's flower. Nora, hello, good to have you here. That's probably it. There's lots of hellos between yourselves. Exciting stuff to have D Marble on though. He's obviously not tied to a phone line, so he's not exactly the easiest man to get hold of. But as I was saying before he popped by for a few minutes, we got to chat with him about his, I think it's an Instagram conversation that he's having between himself and B.O.B. And he read out the conversation and it just seemed like two on-the-level guys talking about their intentions. Just normal conversation, as you would expect. Hopefully we'll get into it when he gets back on. Also, he's going to be in attendance at the conference. So that's a new turn of events, which Robbie Davidson dropped me a line about earlier while I was at work. I was like, ooh, he's going to be part of the Q&A. Excellent. Excellent. So yeah, if you're going to be in attendance at the conference, then you'll get to see D Marble there, which is lovely. I'm sure everybody wants to see D Marble. Everybody's very excited in the chat, I can tell. Keen, enthusiastic people waiting for D Marble. Dana Walker says, I've seen several comments asking about authentic intent. I'm sending him good thoughts and including him in my prayers. Oh no, is he? I know he's not well in general, but has he taken a turn or something? Let me know, that'd be brilliant. Did not know that. Not good. Never nice when good people have something, an affliction of any kind, and yeah, it's always the best of people typically that have these sorts of afflictions. I think he has ME. I've got a detractor. I love it. Hoary Sheet Show says, I never got a response from B.O.B. I'm calling it now. He's wasting a lot of money. Mark my words, people. I like a contrarian opinion, Hoary. You know me. Fantastic. Not that I endorse that opinion at all. I'm completely neutral in this respect. If the guy wants to raise money and wants to prove the Earth is flat, to be perfectly honest, I'm all for it. Especially the publicity that comes with that. Dina Walker says no one knows where he is in reference to authentic intent. Okay. He'll rear his head at some stage and let us know that he's well, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Angela Cope says, hey everyone, as does Tony Ward Deja Vu. Good to have you here. Gempanda 2012 says, Nathan Oakley, you are wrong about everything, by the way. Thanks for letting me know. That's good to hear. How long has this show been going on? It's just started. Well, technically it hasn't even started. This is the boring bit where I set up the show, get my guests, do the levels, chat to the chat room. You know, not the most riveting part of the show, I'm afraid. But yeah, if you do come back, you might want to click the link in the info box and go to the main part of this show, which will undoubtedly be a lot more interesting because it'll be a proper conversation between me and D Marble rather than a conversation between myself and your wonderful selves in the chat room. Apparently Dan Pratt's also missing. I heard rumours that he'd shut his channel down for the... Let me get it right. I'm sure it's the 5th time that Dan Pratt has shut his channel down. Undoubtedly not the last we will see of Dan Pratt. Yes, that's right. Dan has left several times, Ukdina. Should really have the chat up for this. It looks better if I can actually have what people say up. There we go. So if you're going to swear in the chat room, now's your chance. Fill your boots. It will go on screen. Yes, do indeed give this video a thumbs up, Patricia. And like and share and subscribe. So Patricia missed out on our chat yesterday with D Marble. She had better things to do, apparently. Oh, that's very nice of you, Nora. We like hanging out with you, Nathan, she says, on the couch. This is a very refined office chair, I'll have you know. Smash that like, Homo sapiens, says Joe's Live. No dearth, you have to say his name 3 times and he will be summoned. A bit like the Candyman, or is it 5 times with the Candyman? Flat Earth Genius. I have a good idea for your next show, Nathan. Alright. This is not the X Factor. This is not Dragon's Den, but yeah, you feel free. Fill your boots. Alright, let's just read this through. Pre-vet it. Oh, I suppose the chat's on screen, isn't it? Don't really need to vet any of this. Yeah, I understand your criticism, Hoary, but by the same token, you know, do any of us know what we're doing when we first do something? This is his first Flat Earth fundraiser to prove the Earth is flat. We are all pretty much in unprecedented territory. And I don't know, if he wasn't doing it, there would be people out there saying, why haven't we got these celebrities backing Flat Earth? And yeah, you could look at it with a mercenary eye and say, he's just out to screw everyone. But we don't know that, you know. I've got no reason to distrust him. I've got no reason to trust him. But as it stands, I've not given him any money, so I don't care. Yes, this is live, Dearth. That you swore, so YouTube automatically censored you, I'm afraid. I'll show you your message, though. Dearth says, I'm so fucking confused. Is this live? So, because Dearth often pops into the OBS chats when I'm testing things, and what I used to do is try and actually perform the tests whilst having the live stream like I've got now with the camera, and you just can't get anything done. You just end up doing this, talking to the chat room. So what I opted to do was stream older shows. Ah, we've got D-Mal back. Fantastic. Should have kept an eye on the time. That wasn't 8 minutes. That was much faster. Did you break speed limits?
Probably. Probably. Incriminate myself out here.
Cool. Right. Let's just do the same tests again. Just because you've rejoined, it might. If you can just say testing, testing.
All right, I'm back. I'm testing my mic. Here. Gosh, I certainly do hope this spot will hold up a little bit better than the last one.
Beautiful.
I'm all right.
Right. Do you need to get a drink or anything? Because if not, we'll start. Let me know when you're ready.
Grab my jug of water.
While you're doing that, Death is just deliberately trying to trigger YouTube's auto censorship mode.
All right.
If I say if this is live, say penis. That's what he says. He's just trying to check whether or not this show is actually live. Death, what a character.
Oh no.
Right.
Gosh.
Are you ready to rock and roll?
I would like to think so. I certainly hope so.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll click the start button in about 10 or 15 seconds. It'll go silent for about 5 seconds, and then I'll introduce you and just say, good evening, welcome to Flat Earth United. Joining me this evening is D Marble. How are you doing? So if you can, I don't know if you need to go on mute because you've got headphones, but if you just keep quiet for the next 10, 15 seconds.
Pretty quiet guy.
Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth United. Joining me this evening is a very special guest indeed. I'm extremely excited to introduce you all to D Marble. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Nathan.
Hello, D. Very pleased to have you here. And broadcasting from a remote, if I can get my tongue around it, a remote location. So where are you in the wonderful part of the States today?
Oh, I'm in Tacoma, Washington, in the lovely city of Lakewood, apartment complex, Wi-Fi spot number 5.
Yeah, you said just before we went live on this broadcast that you've got like several spots that you pick out, but the spot you had before we started this show, you literally had somebody taking photographs of your van as we were chatting. Is that a common occurrence?
It happens all the time, and actually, I knew the guy. He a few weeks ago, I was having a battery, and he actually, he came out and tested my battery to check the charge and all. I recognized cars, and he says he'll check out my YouTube later. So, continuing to plant seeds.
For those who don't know, can you explain to the audience why would somebody be taking pictures of your van?
My van, for those who might not know, is somewhat of a mobile flat Earth billboard, and I have a message on each window. Let me see. It says here, Earth's surface is 71% water. Bodies of water, they're flat. Research flat Earth, and that's on the right, and on the left here, there are pictures of my van. One of those pictures, I was actually watching one of your videos, and I took a picture. I don't know if you remember. I should have pointed that out on the screen.
I didn't catch that. You broke up. Maybe you can, like last time, if you can lower your bandwidth one notch because you're breaking up just a little tad. And it was about me, so deeply important. I really wanted to hear that bit.
Shoot. Okay, let me turn it halfway. Limit bandwidth. Okay, I'll try that out.
You saw one of my videos. What? I didn't catch that bit.
I watched videos actually. It was I'm not sure which one. I was getting ready to go to a friend of mine's show. Just kind of, just had YouTube playing. One of your videos popped up. I just, let it play out, and then I catch a guy. Phone takes a picture of the van. I just took a picture of him, and I caught half of the computer screen. There was your face on it. It was a good shot.
So, I normally open the shows with a particular question to my guests, which is, how did you find out? So, how did you find out Earth is flat?
Oh, well, I used to go fishing with my dad all the time, and I probably should have put it together. The whole idea of going out there so early and, getting out on the lake before it's early in the morning. So, uh, before we get out there, before we cast our lines into the water, we can see that the water was a mirror from one edge of the lake to the other. And I mean, I should have put it together then, but I didn't until I was two or watching Netflix with my ex girlfriend. We were watching that series Under the Dome, and one series we went to YouTube to find supplemental information on that series, and typed in Under the Dome, and one mashup of all of Mark Sargent's flat Earth clues. So that was the first time I had heard the words flat Earth, and once he went through all that, I thought back later to the whole concept of the flat water. So I mean, it didn't take long for me to age where I would mock flat earthers or I would laugh and ridicule. I was never the flat earth debunker. I mean, by the time I had enough conspiracies, quote, to know that we had been deceived about vast of what we've been told by the mainstream. So the idea of flat earth wasn't a huge leap for me.
Yeah, it sounds like a familiar tale. So, in other words, you were at an unconscious level aware of flat Earth probably your entire life, but you realised that you'd been programmed into a different belief when you came across Mark Sargent's video and a whole bunch of others.
No, no. Pretty much lost faith in the mainstream narrative on most everything. 9/11, Sandy Hook, health system, and the Environmental Protection Agency. They've done a great job at protecting the environment.
Oh, we've lost you again. Maybe lower your bandwidth just one more notch, because we just keep losing you a little bit.
I'm gonna. Oh, now.
There we go. You're a little bit more fuzzy, but that's better.
Okay.
Perfect.
I certainly think I'm gonna get no bandwidth. All right. So where was I? Yeah, I didn't trust most of the government's narrative as far as the different agencies that were pushing multiple agendas and all that. I didn't trust the Environmental Protection Agency to protect the environment. I know the CIA trains terrorists. I know that the NSA is spying on everyone here. So, as far as NASA being a credible agent, 20 different government agencies, 19 of them are corrupt and deceptive, then you're going to guess that the 20th one being deceptive and is also being corrupted. So it wasn't a hard switch for me to make.
How do you go from finding out the Earth is flat to becoming a videographer and driving around with a mobile billboard?
Oh, yeah. So now, because that's, I want everybody to know this. It makes so much sense, and I can't stand having my intelligence insulted. So the whole idea that we're living on this spinning ball when we can't detect any motion, that water sticks to this spinning ball. Everything we know shows that water finds its level. So I'm like, come on, man. Everybody's got to figure this out. I'm like, hey, hear ye. Right now, I need to tell you the earth is flat. And some people laugh. Some people will take take pictures and go back to their friend. Other people are saying, I'm going to look that up. I've had people actually come up to the van and say, hey, I've watched a few of your videos. They'll come back and want to talk to me about it. One guy actually left a note on my video. The fan, he'd like to sit down and talk sometime. I'm like, that's cool. So things are happening, and I'm pumped.
I mean, this is way smaller than the reality of your exposure, though. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's still really cool that you're getting literally people coming up and putting notes on your van saying, I'd like to talk to you about flat Earth. But you're getting proper... Yeah. I mean, I've seen you in the paper, here in Britain.
Really? I was in a newspaper? I thought it was just like online.
Yeah, The Sun. Well, I say in the paper.
On TV?
The Sun online, yeah. I mean, the Sun is the newspaper. I say in the paper. That's probably just a turn of phrase these days, but you know what I mean.
Right. And I understand that's like a tabloid out here, so I don't know. It's a lot of hit pieces, and that's fine. They're still it's still raising awareness. There's still people checks out. Oh, why exactly didn't the bubble move?
Oh, we missed some of that. I'm gonna do it. Can you lower your bandwidth one more? We might lose your camera.
Ah, shoot. I'm just gonna turn the camera off, if that'll help.
Should do. We're left with my
pretty
face. There we go.
Okay. Okay. What about now? Are we better now? Just a little?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So, can you tell us? I know it's a debunking, but to me, there's no such thing as bad publicity as far as I'm concerned. So the fact that you were in the Sun, holding your spirit level with the words flat and Earth next to each other was just fantastic. But can you tell us about, first and foremost, the experiment that you did that they covered?
Well, the spirit level experiments, it kind of came from an idea that I had while I was talking to some guys that I work with. And what I was saying to them, and I saw a picture on Facebook, I believe, and pictures of things on a globe. There was, I believe there was a sundial, a periscope, a spirit level, and gyroscope. Being that I could actually go get a spirit level, I went and grabbed one of those, and came to hey Omar, this thing doesn't work on a globe, because if it's flat, if it's level here 100 miles away or 2 hours away to Portland and it's still level, that means pretty much it's flat. But I didn't know how I would go about with it on that drive, but I remembered that I had a flight coming up, so I decided to take that spirit level onto a plane from North Carolina to Seattle, and recorded 203 miles of flight, and the bubble stayed centered the whole time. And it had started off as just something I wanted to do, to show to a few people on Facebook, and I big a deal that might be, to be honest. But turned out that the plane should have had miles of curve, because according to spherical trigonometry, flight speed, or the cruising speed of an eighth plus 115 miles per hour over the course of 23 minutes and 45 seconds, which is what I recorded, the plane 103 miles. According to spherical trigonometry, that should have meant compensation for over 5 miles of curvature, but that wasn't registered through the spirit level. So pretty much show that the plane takes off and flies over a flat surface, and as valid. Other people will just scream gravity, but it's all good.
Well, it's one of those. It's a simple experiment that shows what you experience in reality, and that's, to me, very eloquent to actually demonstrate that as you travel, the bubble doesn't move. That's just a fact. And the theory that we are presented with lots of maths that undoes the actual observation is just that. It's just theory. It's just maths. The actual observation showed you there is no curve, as you experience every time you fly. But it's just nice to see something actually measured. I mean, subsequently, there's people that have done it with apps on phones where it takes out the gravitational factor that people object to, and you can place it on a surface, do exactly the same thing as a spirit level essentially does, but there's the objection is that the bubble is constantly pulled to the center of this spherical earth that we have in theory, but in reality that's just math, that's just theory. What we experience and what you experienced on that flight was level the entire way. I mean, you broke up a little bit when you said, did you say it's 5 miles of curvature that you should have experienced over the 230-mile trip? Is that right?
Yes, it definitely should have been about 5 miles of curvature. That didn't happen. It'll be somewhere around 5.26 miles, something like that.
Right. But yeah, you did get flack for it. It's one of those, I think. Well, maybe I'll phrase it as a question. Why do you think you get hit pieces as opposed to amazement from the tabloid press? What do you think the reason is behind that?
Well, the idea, I believe, would be, give people, it's to control the narrative, in my opinion, because society has been programmed to do whenever anyone uses the words flat earth, the initial response from most people is to laugh, ridicule, mock, call you retarded, call you stupid, and say that you have no concept. You need to go back and please don't reproduce. And I mean, all these other beautiful responses that people give to us. But that the reason, those articles were essentially hit pieces was to perpetuate that mentality. And mainstream manipulation, if I understand correctly. And it's not just in America. Apparently these things happen in Australia and the UK, or there was one written up in Israel that turned out. I actually translated that translation and it came out pretty neutral, but for the most part the hit pieces are just to control the narrative of the mass population.
Right. You, me, and every other person that's putting out this information needs to be kept in check. And so long as the masses hear that we are, quote, ridiculous, then that's going to be the perception, because it is an amazing revelation, which is why I ask all of the guests, how did you find out? Because for many, they won't find out even when they're told. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's difficult to actually get a cogent piece of information across to somebody without getting it ridiculed. How much success have you had in that regard?
Yes, absolutely. And this is a common sense approach when explaining flat Earth. I always, I'll go back to no spin. I mean, the ways that explain the flat Earth, and the curvature aspect, as it's written on the side. I just use water because water is, that's what's used to determine when something is level. Obviously, they're inside a level, but that's, I mean, it's just common sense. If you can figure out it's flat in a glass, in a bowl, in the sink. If you run water, you're about to do your dishes, you just let it.
Oh, keep losing you. I'm really sorry. You're breaking up again. Typically, when it's the most important bit with the detailed bit about your proofs for why it's flat, that's when we're losing your signal. Typically, it's the NSA.
Freaking NASA's hacking us, man. This is craziness.
We'll battle our way through. Don't worry. But if you could just
number 4.
If you could just repeat what you said about the spin and water, just to not lead you too much.
Yes. All right. So the term is Earth is basically because, I mean, there's no spin, there's no curve. Uh, any experiment that proves that the Earth is spinning. When we go outside, we look up at clouds. We see, the clouds. They look like they're sitting in the same place, but they're moving very slowly. But they tell us that we're moving miles at the equator and around the longitude where I am, or a latitude where I am. Here's around 8 per hour that we're supposed to be spinning, and yet I can sit outside on a calm day and just motion. There's no movement, and this is very common sense because if you're standing on top of a car that's moving around that spins about 7 or 8 miles per hour, you're going to feel it, either way. So, I mean, if the Earth were 850 or 1,000 plus miles per hour anywhere, the damage that would take. I mean, we wouldn't be able to live our lives here if the Earth were spinning that fast. And then, as far as your aspect, I'll just go back to water. It's all about, water is used to determine whether or not a surface is level. And have a pretty level surface wherever you look, and it goes the same from a glass of water to a lake, and oceans play by the same rules as those smaller bodies. But people have a hard time wrapping their minds around how, and one ocean happens to be a body of water that's connected to all other bodies of water. So the oceans are actually just one body of water, curves. But people have a hard time wrapping their minds around that one. See?
Sure. It's the physics of water that is subject to a lot of wordplay, because you can make water, you can make it turn into a sphere. You can drop it and it will become spherical. You can, as Orphan Red pointed out today, you can put a magnetic field around flowing water and it will bend to avoid the magnetic field. In other words, you can get water to do all sorts of crazy things in motion. However, at rest, it's flat. But when you come to the oceans, they're not at rest. It's not like a lake. So it's difficult to get people to understand that, yes, you do have movement across the entire body, but ultimately it's a massive body of contained water. And then you get into the semantics of, well, it's not at rest. But, like you say, how do you convince somebody that something that is moving but massive isn't curving, which blatantly it isn't just by observation?
Exactly, and that's a major thing with me. From time to time that water has to be at rest. I'll just say bodies of water,
We're
curves of
losing you
water
again.
as.
Oh dear.
Yep, you're right. I know this is terrible. I'm good. Jeez, this is all messed up.
That's okay. We're
Do we
struggling
have
our way
any
through. We will ask the chat. Should we? What should we?
music?
We'll ask the chat. Should we continue? What should we do, chat? Should we? I don't know, because presumably you can't relocate again, can you?
I surely could.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're one of the few guests that you can say, find a better internet connection.
Right. It's like my connection sucks. I gotta go somewhere else, man. Dang it.
Okay, it's all good.
All right.
I will fill.
Let me see now. Where to now? All right, this one might take a little longer.
All good. I will chat to the chat.
More reliable.
Cool. Hopefully we'll see you in a few minutes.
Jeez. All right. I'll be right back again.
Okay, see you shortly. yeah, for those watching, I think it's worth it. You know, as I just said to D Marble, we are in a position where we can literally find a better connection. And I don't know, it's frustrating for me as a host. I want to hear every word that he's got to say, and I'm sure you do in the chat. And for a few minutes of whistling the girl from Ipanema, we can have a proper conversation, hopefully when he returns. Hopefully with camera, that would be fantastic. I'm sure the women will be very pleased if they get to see D Marble's pretty face throughout the interview. So hopefully we'll resolve those technical issues when he does return. In the meantime, I'm going to go back to the chat and have a bit of a hello to you. This is the first time I think we've done this on the actual live Google Plus feed, so I might go across to there first and say hello to you good folks. Chat feed, let's have a look. Right, we've got in here Austin7, good to see you. Andres, good to have you here. A few other names that were in the other chat room. Hi Fruity You, good to have you here. Skyfly Bry says, hello Nathan Oakley, do you still love me? Of course, I love each and every one of my viewers. Martin Liedke, good to have you here. The chat, which was definitely a bit more busy. As I said before, if you are tired of anybody in the one chat, they won't be getting banned. You can just go to the other chat room. Validation Boy, hello, good to have you here. Am I going to read that? Tender nipple, WWE, hugging, touch butt, martial arts, shout me out. I just did. I'm not even going to attempt to repeat it. Angel Raven 444. That mushroom. Looks like it. Hello, Ace. Ace McLeod. Ginger Sugarbush 905. Hello. And Flat Earth Court. Good to see you. Stephen Watson. Saying hello to Skyfly Bry. Very chatty, tender nipple. And Ugdina, the first to moan about the trolls, says, VB, kiss my red ass. The trolls are rubbing off on you, Ugdina. Has to be said. See what we've got. Any useful opinions in here? The Validation Boy says, Maggie, because they are fame hounds. Because they from expletive cliques and because they support openly Satan-worshipping scam artists who get channels like mine shut down because they are jealous. I don't know. Who's the Satan worshipper? I don't think we have any actual Satan worshippers in Flat Earth that I'm aware of. Free Truth, Paula, good to see you. Earth again, not actually getting censored. Reasonable conversation. Was says this is all wrong. That's great. Fart Talk 45, P Mars, good to have you here. All the free people. Says bye Carlos. Everybody's been greeted. Good to have you here. Be sure to like and subscribe. Share this video far and wide on Facebook and YouTube and G+, Twitter, all those good things. Hope you all agree I made the right decision to literally suggest that my guest go somewhere else. I hope it didn't come across as terribly rude. Yeah, I'd rather have a proper conversation than not. Joshua, good to have you here, my friend. Are you back on the globe? What's your state of play at the minute, Joshua? Last time I checked, you were renouncing Flat Earth because of the South Celestial Pole Star. Is that still the case? Love to know. There says, Validation Boy, how much more bullshit can you spew in this chat before even Nathan gets fed up? Validation Boy is very welcome here. You are all welcome. Thank you very much for viewing. Much obliged. If you don't like this chat room, just go to the other one. Although, now I'm reading some of his messages. Yeah, calm down, Validation Boy. No need, no need. Yes, Validation Boy. IPS has openly declared his worship of Satan countless times in irony. You know, I've done it too. Occasionally I'll go into a chat room for the sake of irony and say, Hail Satan. It doesn't mean I actually worship Satan. It's being said in irony. It's like, yeah, if people call you a Satanist, you just say, yeah, I am a Satanist. It's like back in school when people would call you gay. You go, yeah, okay, I am gay. Whatever. That's the same equivalent. Doesn't actually make you gay. Doesn't actually make IPS a Satan worshipper. It's just a way of conceding to your detractors to shut them up. Same with the thumbs down. Thumbs down's a much better example, actually. So what IPS does is he sets his thumbs up, thumbs down massively in favour of thumbs down, because then people who do thumbs down, they have no power. Hooray! We're back with D-Marble. Woohoo!
Okay.
I reckon third time's a charm. You sound pretty clear to me.
Oh. All right. Take 3.
Take 3. And we've got your pretty face as well. Excellent. The women will be very pleased. Do you get lots of female flat earth attention? I suppose you should phrase it as a question rather than an assumption.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Lies. Total lies. Even I have commented in some of the chats, but yeah, I've seen the women swooning around you. I'm actually extremely jealous. If I wasn't a married man.
No idea what you mean, man. I'm I'm totally just not a whole lot going on. I appreciate it. And yeah, you have made some comments. I'm like, Oakley, come on. All good.
Yeah, I just do it for the shock value.
It's pretty funny.
So tell us about the conference. Robbie Davidson got in touch with me and explained that you're going to be doing the Q&A. How did that come about?
Yeah, I'm man, I was kind of freaking out last night. Got a call from him just last night. No, yeah, actually we talked maybe a couple months ago, and I just totally forgot about it. You know, I talked to him last night. And he's like, we'd like to add you on a spot for the guest panel towards the end for a Q&A session. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I kind of had an out of body experience. Kind of was looking at myself. Yeah. I'm gonna be on a panel at the first Flat Earth International Conference. It's one of those things where you're like, what's going on right now? Totally excited about it. Really just yeah, I'm honored that I'd even be asked to I don't know, man. I'm just excited.
Yeah, you get to mingle with fellow flat earthers and get quizzed by the great unwashed. The general public will be there. Presumably not giving you a hard time, though.
Oh, no.
Oh, have we lost you again? Oh, no.
This Wi-Fi, man.
All right, it's all right. Just try that trick again. Just lower the bandwidth down.
All right. Bandwidth, and I'll bring that. You know what? Yeah, audio only. That's it. How are we?
Audio only is fine. We've got your face for a few minutes. Good enough teaser for people watching. People know who you are. They know what you look like. It's all good.
Right.
You're excited for the conference?
I am. I'm very excited. This is gonna be. It's gonna be a good time. Yeah, man, I won't make it in time to take pictures with everyone at the billboard and all. I don't get in on the 8th, and everyone's going to be meeting up on the afternoon of the 8th to go to the billboard that Dave Weiss is putting. Kind of sucks. I'm going to miss that part because I was looking forward to that part, but oh well, it's all good. All good.
I think I caught most of that. Did you say that you're not going to be able to go to have a photo up at the billboard?
No, I won't be able to make it for that. I had bought my plane ticket, um, the security code for my debit card on the plane ticket to, complete the purchase. 2 minutes later, I get another message from Robbie Davidson saying, "Hey, make sure you get in early on the 8th."
Oh,
I
that's a
just
shame.
bought the tickets.
Yeah, that's a
Just bought the
pity.
tickets right before.
So I think what I might do is get in a couple more questions, just because we can hear you, but it's losing a little bit of it. So we're a good average to get definitely one key point that I want to ask you about, which is just because it's, well, you probably already know what I'm going to talk about, which is about B.O.B. And how you've came to interact with him, what your interactions have been, and your general opinions about what he's doing.
Uh, it's my feeling that he's um pretty sincere in what he's doing. Um, I don't know, just kind of pulling everybody's chain because I've listened to a lot of his music and he gets conspiracies. He talks about a lot of different issues. He gets into chemtrails, weather manipulation, vaccines, uh, Bilderberg. He goes all over the place as far as the conspiracies, and he talks a lot about flat Earth also. And my feeling is that he for flat Earth than negative at this point because I've had so many people come back to me and say, you know, I if it weren't for Bob, people are telling me that, and that makes sense. And if we're just spread awareness of flat Earth, then I'd look at what he's attempting to do as positive. And the way that I gauge that is because you know I'm not too worried about it as flat earthers. Our community only grows. There aren't many people who come back and say, I'm no I'm gone back to believing we're on a globe. It's definitely spinning. It's definitely curved. We're not on a flat Earth. I don't. So this whole situation with Bob, it raises more awareness because he has quite the following. And on Instagram and Facebook, there are a lot of people who pay attention to what he has to say. Where mostly in his raps. Somewhere around 867, something like that. Probably more, but that's more than any YouTuber slash flat. That might be more than all of us combined. So I'd say his speaking out about flat Earth is a positive. As far as the GoFundMe, I believe that may very well be some sort of kind of playing devil's advocate, saying, okay, well, if we live on a globe and if you all have the capability to send my own satellite into space, and I'm looking to collect money to do so, and if he gets to a point to where he money to send to put together a satellite and then have it sent out to space, quote, then he's met with these barricades. They set up these barriers saying, okay, well, this went wrong. You have to do this. You have to do that. This isn't going to work. Opposition to a point to where it seems really difficult to get the satellite that he put together out. Then it's just going to be a red flag to anyone who's paying attention to that aspect. So it'd be a positive, but my thing at this point, and what I said in another video was, let's just situation. And if you believe that he's a scam artist and that he's trying to take your money, well, how about laws? Don't hand him any of your money. That's our two options. Either you can put in or not. So no need to con artist. Well, what he's going to do, and I'm not saying just be naive to the situation, but just keep an eye on where I'm at. It really doesn't, it's not a huge deal to me as far as what he does with this, because like I said, increasing at this point.
Sure, but you have been in contact with him though. I think you said it was via Instagram. Is that right?
Yes, we did have a couple of exchanges on Instagram, and let me pull that up real quick just to see what we were discussing. I'd look at who've given him a hard time about his GoFundMe, and I kind of reached out to him saying that the same articles that are giving him a hard time and are looking to do, they're the same ones that were writing the hit pieces and calling me. And so it's Unilad, Metro, COUK, Daily Mail. These are the same places that on the spirit level experiment. These are the same ones that are kind of saying, oh, look, BOB came out and did this, so we got some have something different to say. But I asked him what the plan was for the GoFundMe, and it's was just that there isn't a definitive plan right now, is what he told me, and that we just need to let labels and battles consume our creative process. And he also went on to say that their world is lure us into it, their crumbling society, and that made sense to me. But the of him being able to network with so many people is a positive.
Right, it is definitely fantastic exposure.
Right, and my question, well, my thing, ability to actually get involved with these things. I'm kind of at a point to where I can understand if it's ducks in a row, so to speak, because he's he's busy. He's got concerts multiple times cities. He was just in San Diego yesterday. He was in another place, earlier this week. So these things happen. He'll do his quick live streams and all that on Instagram, and he's usually driving somewhere or being driven somewhere. His phone probably always in the lab, or writing down new information or stuff. I've been busy to a point, and I have a different situation. I have a full-time job. I have personal relationships to deal with my YouTube stuff, and then there's always somebody asking questions on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, or some comments to respond, because I'll try to put up a couple new videos each week, and I'll respond to comments as much as I can. Pretty much the same thing I sympathize with the guy because I've been busy, but I'm thinking as far as the details of what he wants to do with the experiments, I believe he, might not have time to hammer out all the details himself, but he work with people who do have expertise in certain areas, and that's what I'd encourage him to do. I could talk to him directly, and I mean, I gave him another idea, if you'd like to hear about that.
Yeah, for sure. You go ahead.
Well, uh, I talked to him an expedition to Antarctica, and personally, I don't want to go. I don't want to go to Antarctica. I want to tell them, I know they're scared of everyone figuring this out, but as far as the experiments go, people are concerned about these details as far as your plan before they fully trust you. Is what I was telling him. And I said, I know you're busy, but it will be huge if we could get you on a pan forward, because he could be like, not so much our poster boy or anything like that, but he's a lot of influence. He has a lot of different people with eyes on him as far as this whole situation. I don't even know how much money the GoFundMe has. I suggested to him that no one has circumnavigated the Earth from north to south, and I'm getting a lot of people wanting me to propose to you. And I said, we or a team of volunteers, in parentheses, head south and just keep going while documenting the whole thing. He's like, have you done research on Antarctica and what's out there? uh, yeah, I've looked into it vaguely, but this is where the networking comes in, because there's a lot of flat earthers who have more insight and can provide the info that we need, licensing, etc. And I talked to him about arranging a series of live panels to discuss the details. He said, "Well, the things I've heard about Antarctica make me not want to go visit there." I'm like, "Yeah, me too."
Yeah, it's cold. I
I
totally agree.
yeah,
I said a similar thing years ago, and I think I phrased it something like, "I value my fingers too much," and I got a load of stick about it because I think at the time Math Powerland was putting across exactly that idea, to do circumnavigation from north to south because it's not been done. So that would be an easy and concise way of proving one way or the other. And everybody who thinks it's a globe, you'd think would be all for it. Yes, let's do it. It shouldn't, in my view, it should be something that's commonplace as opposed to down to, even if it was £1 million that BOB raises, it's pittance. It's nothing. In the big scheme of things, it's nothing when you're talking about things like expeditions and sending up satellites. That was the last thing I was going to sort of maybe mention. I'll try and tie this together. You've got this idea of people who are in the mainstream eye, like BOB, as being controlled or having controllers, when in reality these are just regular Joe normal. So when you've got, it's almost nice to hear you say that he said, "Oh, I don't really know what I'm going to do yet. We haven't got a firm plan yet. I've just done a GoFundMe, because I want to do something," and that to me
right.
sounds very like any normal guy would be. Do you know what I mean? In other words, it's not controlled opposition. He's not,
Dude,
doing it to scam people. It's just a guy who's had an idea and just done it. Why not?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was kind of like, guys, he seems like a normal guy. He might just be excited about, flat Earth all of a sudden. What I want to do, I'm putting together a GoFundMe. I want to find the curvature, and I mean, I'm like, he sounds like a normal guy. Came off to me, but a lot of people are like, he's trying to take everybody's money. I'm like, he's not taking everybody's money. Actually, NASA, and giving us CGI. Bob, however, is asking for donations, and if you want to donate, you can. And if you, but yeah, that's pretty much what I was saying, Nathan. He sounds like a normal guy just trying to make something happen. I mean, I'm all over the place.
Yeah, and this is true for absolutely every single one of us. You know, of all, I don't know how many people I've interviewed, probably 50 plus people, and they're all exactly the same. They're all just regular people, and Math included, Math Powerland, who, you know, gets pegged as being a bit crazy with his notions of wanting to, you know, cross Antarctica. This is 2 years ago, but now we've got people that like BOB who are in the mainstream eye that have got, you've literally got his ear, and he's having these suggestions put to him because they are being discussed in flat Earth in general. You know, we are all discussing these concepts about circumnavigating the non-existent globe and water at rest being level, all of these concepts, and he's putting this stuff across in his music. You know, it's to a certain extent subliminally programming people. If, you know, it gets radio airplay, people hear Flatline or something, they don't necessarily know what they're listening to. Like, you don't know that you're being programmed into having abusive relationships with a lot of modern pop music. You know, they do the same tricks on us to program us in their nefarious ways, but B.O.B.'s doing the total opposite. You know, he's trying to program people with truth subliminally through music, which I just think is genius. It achieves our ends. We want people to know about this. That's the bottom line, and that's what he's doing. So I've got nothing but praise for people like B.O.B. And I don't know, maybe this will be the last subject before we round things out. There is the thing that I picked up on yesterday when we chatted, albeit very briefly, was that you're not at all in favour of the drama. You're not at all in favour of the infighting. You just don't like it. And B.O.B.'s catching exactly that. Flat earthers criticising him. So, you know, maybe you can let us know what you think and feel about general flat earth infighting, and maybe pull that back to how B.O.B. will possibly be getting exactly the same thing from flat earthers.
Well, I'm. What? Just a second. I just switched over to my phone. I'm going to mute the microphone on this one, hang up the call on my laptop, and now I'm on my phone.
Cool.
Okay. So how are we now, Nathan? Is my audio a little better?
Yeah, definitely. Much better, in fact.
Excellent. I'm not sure why I didn't think of that earlier, but okay. Moving along. Yeah, I'm hoping that you know, all this kind of evens itself out as far as the B.O.B. situation. You know, I think he's just a normal guy like any of us, and you know, being in contact with him, I'm willing to go back with ideas and try to facilitate some sort of, you know, try to be a bridge between him and the community. And some people are like, well, I didn't ask you to be a bridge. I'm like, well, I didn't ask you to ask me. So, you know, that's kind of my thing. You know, I just like for us to all figure this out and work together as best we can. But the infighting, oh man, I am totally not a fan of that. Totally just, you know, not. I don't want to get involved with it. I see no point in it for the most part, and I'm under the impression that we're all on the same page. We're all on the same team. You know, we all just want truth, and we want to spread this as best we can. So the ideas of, you know, this person calling that person a shill or a agent or whatever without sufficient evidence that this is true, it's not really making a whole lot of sense to me. So I'm just not going to get involved as far as all that goes.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. It's all nonsense when we have. I mean, I tried to boil this yesterday. Well, I can't remember what conversation I was having with who, but I was getting very angry because I think it was Flat Out Elected. I'm sorry, you're in the chat, but they were talking about Mandela on Patricia's show last night, and it's something I have a real bee in my bonnet over, because I just think it's so much less important whether or not, you know, the rings around your eye or the Berenstain Bears. You just think the Earth is flat. That's amazing. You know, for the vast majority of my life, the living on a spinning ball thing, the people standing antipode to me thing, the curved water thing, the infinite space thing, they were all real. Now they're not. That's huge. So to talk about whether or not Sex in the City was Sex and the City, or you just think, why? It's just unimportant. And the infighting is even lower on the rung. You know, it's so base. It's so unimportant when we have this sort of massive, life-changing, literally life-changing revelation that the Earth is flat. You know, jeez. Anyway, yeah, I agree.
Right. I'm like, people, we've been lied to for all of our lives since we were babies. You know, they walk us into a classroom, they have us put our little fingers on this globe and, you know, give us these ideas about where we can go travel and where we like to live. And I mean, they just make it sound awesome. You know, they just indoctrinate us from before we can think for ourselves. And that bugs me. That bugs me, like, and that's why I'm so vocal about this whole flat Earth thing, because this is the basis of our whole reality, and we've been misled about that. We have to exist here for all of our lives and know where we are. If you think about it,
I really
this is a
like.
huge deal. This is a
I,
huge deal.
I really like the intro to your videos because of late you've been starting off your videos by saying pretty much the conversation we've just had. The Earth is flat. Water at rest is always level. There is no curvature. Gravity is a load of nonsense. You kind of have these sort of bullet points, but you sort of start it off by saying, just to let you know, before we go any further, Earth is flat. And then, you know, let's not have any messing around. Let's just get that out of the way straight away. That's ace.
Yeah, yeah. I love it, and that's what's necessary these days because, you know, I get people who want to argue that point or argue certain points. If I'm about to make a video about the moon or, you know, about the sun or anything else, it's like they'll say, well, what about this? Well, what about that? Before we get started there, Sparky, the fact that bodies of water at rest do not curve into a sphere. So go ahead and handle that one, and then we'll move on. Yeah, that's just kind of I'm trying to start the videos with the assumption that you know it's flat, right? So here's more evidence to pile on to the whole fact that water doesn't bend like that. So, you know, I'm just felt like doing that for that video. Other videos, I used to do that all the time. I would start out, you know, next to a body of water, in across a lake or something, and then I'd zoom way back out like 2.5 miles, and just say, "Ta-da! It's flat all the way across." So now what? So I kind of, you know, got back to that, or I'm trying to get back to that. I think I left that part out of this next video, but next video is going to be fun. It'll be lots of fun. I'll get that one up in the next few hours.
I mean, we talked a little bit earlier with a bit of a broken connection about NASA, and when it comes to water, NASA have essentially figured out how to fake us, and they've used zero-G planes in order to do this. They've developed their CGI technology by dropping through the air, and in that particular motion, you can have water with a curve. You can have droplets of water because they're in essence falling. Now, they don't look like they're falling because every reference point around the camera is fixed. So therefore what you see is a piece of spherical liquid that appears to be floating in 0G. You know, but all this is bullshit. You know, we've been completely frauded. Well, for me, my entire life, I've been frauded by these people who are taking, what is it now, 52 million a day? What's your general? I don't know. You don't do huge amounts of sort of NASA picking apart and that. What are your general thoughts on NASA?
It's coming. It's coming. I like to I kind of bash NASA on my Twitter more than anything. You know, just yesterday I posted a tweet. It was at NASA equals not a space agency. Great answer, and then another acronym form was like Nazi affiliated scam artists, something like that. And then I typed in all caps, "We know who you are," you know, FE offensive. So, you know, I usually go in on Twitter, but yeah, I got something coming up that I need to start working on as far as NASA, and you know, that's all good.
I love it. When I remember 18 months ago when I was well into getting into the Twitter and the Facebook feeds, NASA almost had it covered. In other words, they had enough, I don't know, anti-trolls, whatever you want to call them, to keep the people like us suppressed. Whereas from what I'm gathering from what you're saying now, they haven't got it covered anymore. This stuff's leaking through. Is that correct? Or are there lots of people giving NASA a hard time on their Twitter and Facebook? Are you alone?
Oh no. Well, here. Gosh. Well, okay, wait, hold on. You want to see some people staring? Wait, watch this. Watch this.
Yeah.
She's taking a picture. You see that? You see
Yeah.
that? This happens all the time. I'm back in the parking lot of Lowe's, just kind of messing around. So, never a satellite lounge. Here, I turn on my laptop now. I can look in the chat. So, a little distracted. I need to put something up to cover that now. But you know, as far as the trolls go, I kind of don't engage with the trolls and all that much anymore because the way I see NASA. Well, NASA they kind of owe us an explanation as far as their technology and lack of technology. I mean, you sat here and you told us that you went to the moon 9, but you don't have the capability to get beyond low Earth orbit here, and so you know something doesn't add up. You know, just the numbers there, because low Earth orbit is 90 miles away. And let me see, it's from 90 miles to 1,200 miles or so. That's low Earth orbit. Okay, that's fine. But I'd like to know who exactly, you know, pulled out the measuring stick. Who performed the experiment that says, okay, what we have here is from the Earth's surface. And now that we're past 89 miles away from the Earth's surface, suddenly, bam, suddenly gravity just shuts off, and now you're in zero gravity. You pass through the barrier at exactly 90 miles away. Sit down and think about just a small, as you're like that out. I mean, seriously. So that's the whole low Earth orbit, going from gravity here on Earth pulling everything down, and suddenly 90 miles away, you suddenly escape gravity's pull towards the Earth. But yet the moon is 238,000 miles away, and that's still being pulled towards Earth, apparently, in this orbit. Like, the numbers don't make any sense if you sit down and just. But they're saying that they made it to the moon back in '69. Moon's 238,000 miles away, 239 or so. You know, and then they say we can't get beyond low Earth orbit. I'm like, well, wait a minute, which one is it? So it's like basically NASA, you know, kind of hung themselves out to dry with their multiple statements. But you know, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, NASA's a joke. I got a plan to kind of pick them apart as far as there not being any real pictures of Earth from space. But just put out a video about that. I'm like, dang it, man. So I'm gonna have to basically take his video, pick it apart, and just kidding.
What do you mean? What do you mean there aren't any pictures of Earth from space? This is news. What do you mean?
What? You didn't know? No, man. Look, all those pictures. That's CGI. Those are CGI composites. You know, there's a little excerpt from this. You know, this nice little video about 47 minutes long. It's called "A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon," and it actually showed the NASA astronauts in the cabin. They kind of had the cabin blacked out, and there was this circular window. And what they were doing, they had the circular window way out here, but they had a camera pulled away in the back of the cabin. You know, the whole cab was, you know, it was just blacked out, and they put a piece of cardboard in there to simulate the Terminator line. Yeah, they faked the whole thing, and they're sitting here saying, "Yeah, we've just we're about halfway to the moon." When in actuality they were just at about Earth orbit. You know, I mean, it's in that film. And I plan on using a little piece of that film in that video just to kind of drive the point home. And there's that guy Rob Simmons, Mr. Blue Marble. You know, he was the one that was famous for saying, well, it is Photoshop, but it has to be. So he said that, but there was another part of that interview that nobody really points out. And there was he was saying how they have to take the composite shots and stitch them together. And one of the things that he said, well, we can't keep them all, this way or that way because it comes out this way and it's kind of flat. He literally said it looks kind of flat. Takes that part of the audio out of there and actually accentuates that. But there was a point where he said they have to kind of wrap it around a globe because it looks flat. So I'm going to bring that up too in that video when I get around to it. But
I mean that interview
projects,
was excellent because it shows multiple different things. So you see cognitive dissonance working before your very eyes, because there's no way he's in any way, he's not intentionally trying to deceive his audience. That's just how he sees things. NASA's so compartmentalized that he is in a position where he actually believes that. It's because that is how it is. He's just saying it matter of fact. Well, yeah, it looks kind of flat, so we have to kind of wrap it around this ball. And once we end up with this squashed donut thing, we have to run it through rendering, and then it ends up perfectly spherical. We work it all out so it looks okay. And then there you go. We do some color correction, and it's Photoshop, but it has to be Photoshop because that's how we're making it, obviously. But to him, he doesn't see there's a disconnect, between his actual reality and what he's doing. But I would assume that the NASA Human Resources Department are very good at picking out people who will sit in that little niche of not actually realizing what they're doing. I remember Math Powerland having this conversation with me, and he was saying that the guy in rendering is going to have a conversation with the guy who's actually doing the artwork, and the guy from rendering goes, well, it's kind of looking like it's all flat. And eventually they just tap him on the shoulder and he gets moved department and somebody else fills his position. And just make sure you don't, just do what we tell you. How we trained you how to do it is what you need to do. Just do that. Don't ask any questions. Get on with it. Simple.
Right. Okay, just a second. Gosh.
Still got people taking, I saw a quick glance of people taking photographs still.
Yeah, pretty much. Gotta switch to let me see, lower power mode. Good Lord, come on, deal again. Give me a sec.
Conspiracy people thinking you're actually lowering your own power mode and you're like robot. I've got to fix D-Marble's circuitry.
All right. I think I hear someone laughing out loud outside the van at what they see on the side of this thing. Hilarious. All right, let's see now.
How's that? All good?
Okay. Best I'd like to think. All right. I'll check again in a minute or two to see where we're at.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. We might actually round out the main part of the show here, and hopefully you'll give us a plug to your YouTube channel and anything else you want to plug before we round out that bit. Bear in mind we will still be broadcasting on OBS when we end, but is there anything you want to plug for the Google Plus audience?
I'm not really all that great at whole self-promotion thing, but I don't know. I just say that continue to find ways to talk these things out, peacefully if we can, but we can all work together if we try. If we can, be adults and just have a rational conversation. We're not always going to see things eye to eye, but at the end of the day, we're all being misled by the same group of people, so we're all the same team by default if we're on the side of truth. So it's this whole thing just makes sense to me, and it makes sense to a lot of other people, and I'm just glad to be part of the community. But let's stay hopeful and keep a watchful eye on things that we don't really good idea on kind of generally speaking on this BOB thing. I'm just like looking for, let's keep an eye on it. That's all I'm saying. It's exposure is exposure at this point, and exposure with him talking about flat Earth at this point, and out in the open. But we'll see what happens as far as the situation goes.
Speaking of being accessible to the community, is there a, short of putting a note under your windscreen wiper, how can people get in touch with you?
Okay, well, at any of the places, I'm at dmarble1 on Twitter, Daryl.marble on Facebook. Just go, I'm dmarble on here. Just a regular guy. We'll talk about it all the same. I try to get back to people when I can. I always have the time to. So that's what I got.
Cool. Oh, massive thank you to all of you who are watching. Make sure you subscribe to D.Marble YouTube channel. And one last massive thank you to D Marble for being on Flat Earth United. It's been an absolute pleasure.
All right, thank you, Nathan. I'll make sure I go straight to the phone when we do this next time. I kind of owe you another interview because this one was just all kinds of chopped up. So we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I was asking the chat, and they were all saying no, stick with it. So other than Tim Osman, he was the only one that said unlistenable, but he sodded off pretty quick. Oh. But yeah, I will say one last thank you to all of the people who have joined us in the live chat. Thank you very much for being here, and be sure to subscribe to Nathan Oakley 1980 if you have not done so already. And with that, I will say a massive thank you once again to D Marble and say I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you all in the next video.
All right. Thanks, Nate. Stay flat.
That's it. We're still on OBS though, so I'll.
Cool.
But yeah, if you've got to toddle off, feel free. I bet you watch. The connection will get miles better now. Now we've ended that. Now we've ended the main show. It'll improve. I guarantee you.
Yeah, I'm like, what the heck, man? Yeah. Gosh. I might have to just be sitting inside a Starbucks next time. That might be it, because this is all kinds of bad. I can't have my connection falling apart. And I don't know, man.
No. Don't feel bad about it. To be honest, I like it because we got to see twice people coming up and interacting with you at van level. You know what I mean? Should I say this? There's a fine line between somebody in a van being ridiculed and somebody in a van being cool as fuck. And you've got it perfect. You're cool. You're cool. Rolling around, people pointing out what's on your van. Awesome. I mean, I just think it's so awesome. I don't know. There's so many people that have looked at what you're doing and taken inspiration. I think Stephen Chess is in the chat, and he's one of them. He wants to do exactly what you're doing. I want to do what you're doing. Waking up in a different spot each day, that really appeals.
It's fun. It really is. Just the whole being able to switch it up. And if I wanted to go to one place, it's like I figure out, okay, if I park at this apartment complex, then I know that these kids are going to come out late night on a Friday, and then that's kind of going to be one of those things that I'm like, okay, I don't really want to hang out here on a Friday, so I'll say, okay, park in the Safeway parking lot because it's quieter over there, and it's just it's cool to have that flexibility, man. But when I'm trying to do a video, it turns into an issue. It turns into an issue because I'll say, okay, I want to go get some coffee. So I don't have a coffee maker in here, so I have to go to a stand, order some coffee, and I'm like, all right, now what? I gotta write out some stuff to say. And I'll pull out my little dry erase board, write out some things to say, and then I'm like, all right, so now I got to go somewhere else to record because I like to record outside. Like this morning it's sunny, and then they started spraying the chemtrails, and now it's cloudy. But I love recording outside in nature, but sometimes it doesn't work because the wind's blowing, and I don't know, man. It's pretty cool, but you know, there's always something going on.
Well, you must do more. You must do multiple takes then, because every video I've watched of yours seems really slick. You know, I've got absolutely no issue with any of your videos in terms of their production values. They all seem really good.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I try to you know, I'll just write out like a little script with some little buzzwords and all that on my little dry erase board, and then you know, I'll kind of hang it up. I'm telling all my trade secrets to everybody. There's like 50 people watching this right now, so I do my own script, people. Okay, I don't have a ghostwriter. You know, this is my life. So, you know, I'll write out my little script as far as things that I want to say. And dang it, Ace! Ace says if this van's a rocket, the Earth may be spinning. That's awesome.
So does your handler not do your scripts for you then? Your handler not do that for you?
Oh no, I don't know. My handler stays in another state, so you know it's all good. You know, we know who it is. Hi, Patricia. Anyway, so no. My handler isn't close, and I just kind of you know, do my own stunts. I do my own recording and editing and all. You know, it's fun. I kind of got a little groove. You know, that I'm getting into a little you know, a couple other things. But oh man, Nathan, too much about this one project, man. I'm really excited about this one. I got an idea to kind of unite the community.
Oh, okay.
And it's you know, and I don't want to say too much about it, but man, it's I think it's gonna be cool. I think it's gonna be epic. My beard from time to time. I just trimmed it down yesterday. It was, you know, in the chat again, but.
Go on, you've got to give us some more, you've got to give us some details. Then what's going to unite the community? Because you've gone from unite the community to your beard trimming. You can't leave us hanging like that.
Yeah, I'm all right. I talked to a couple of people, and the idea is for us to kind of connect to the general truth community, the ones that haven't quite embraced flat Earth yet, and the name of it will be Dear Conspiracy Theorist. And that's going to be the name of it. It's going to be kind of like a spoken word poem that goes over a lot of the general conspiracies. And then I'll kind of tie it into flat Earth at the end, you know, just to kind of bring us that I've talked to about a couple of guys. There's been a couple of guys at my job who, you know about how they know about the banking system. They know about the illegal wars and all this stuff. And I mean, they're conspiracy guy, like anybody.
Right, purple pillars.
Earth is exactly. They're kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Just kind of purple pill. You know, haven't quite swallowed the red pill, not fully. Kind of diet woke. But right. Anyway, they'll flat Earth, they just won't. They just won't hear it. They just won't hear it. So, you know, that's the thing, and this is for the general conspiracy theorist that isn't quite there yet. So,
yeah, we're finding.
It's going to be fun.
You said it on the show. They get you from birth, literally from the moment you're conscious. You're being programmed with the idea that you're on a globe. So it's just there's no need for shills. None. People are going to fight against this instinctively, you know, and they do. Everybody fights against it. Almost everybody. You know, I'm finding with the more people I speak to, like we just did, that there is a certain type of people that are they just warm to it naturally. In other words, when you described it like you know you're out on the lake fishing, well, that kind of describes a similar story to many other people, that they've got a kind of a realization that's already waiting to come forth, and then something triggers it. As opposed to you're content with being on the globe, you're on a globe, you feel confident and smart because you know you're on a globe, you think you're more intelligent because you know a bit about how the globe works, and then someone comes along and says, well, actually, I think that all that's nonsense. And they go, what? No, I've got intelligence, I've got intellect, I've got education, you are a moron. And that's what we get 99 times out of 100. The programming for the globe, I admire it. I think it's so clever, you know, to have people so programmed.
It's a very insidious system, the way that it worked out. There was actually one point where I went to a bank with a friend of mine. I'm having a conversation with this girl, and she's been let me see. Oh, hold on. Oh, let me see. I'm having a conversation with this girl, and you know, she's just astounded to keep up with her because she's in college, and you know, I hadn't completed any you know, formal schooling, but it's just, I don't know, intellectual superiority is bred into that college mentality, because they're basically told that anyone figure out how to read, memorize, regurgitate this information is a knuckle dragging troglodyte that can't string multiple sentences together to create a coherent thought. So I mean, and that, I'm like, that was an eye opener as far as how these people are trained in these so-called higher education, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, indoctrination system as opposed to education system. Okay, make them thoroughly believe.
Yeah.
That's the same with the people right up the ranks. Even if they did figure out the true nature of reality, the chances are it doesn't serve their benefit. So, for us, we can have a life-changing revelation, but if you're in the system, heavily into the system, and once you've gone through the education system, you are. Your purpose in doing that is to get further into the system. So to rebel against that is counterintuitive. Yes. You know, you're not going to want to do that. It's going to be against every fibre of your being, especially if you're invested. You know, in my lifetime, I remember free university education, which is now obviously a thing of the past. But that's twofold. The benefit to the system is twofold. You're more skint, wonderful news for them, and you're more invested in your own programming. In other words, you're going to want to fight against it even more if you've actually handed over your own hard-earned cash to be indoctrinated with this shite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's just a matter of people being, you know, educated. What happens is they'll sit here and let me see. They'll sit here and have their ego attached to it, attached to that whole idea of them being so enlightened and so educated, because, you know, like you said, they've become financially and emotionally invested in this whole situation. So, you know, it's just kind of funny about this whole thing. That's a huge hang up for a lot of people, ego aspect of it, because what happens is they'll like you said, they'll go through this system, they'll take out their loans, they'll get their shiny piece of paper, and now you've gone on to paid slavery. Good job. Now you get to pay back all that money that you've borrowed in order to get that piece of paper. Who gives you this piece of paper? So now you have to pay for this education. So, you know, being that you have to do that locks you into this system, but the ego gets the best of them, because they attach that ego to what they've learned, and what they've learned kind of coincides with that whole globe model. You know, they feel like they've gotten a better grasp on things based on their education about how, you know, light can't escape from a black hole, or how, you know, the well, I learned all about quasars are so far off in the distance. I learned about dark matter and all that good stuff. You know, they'll quote all these things, and they just don't want to come to a point where they have to admit that what they learned is complete bullcrap. Their
Yeah.
ego is so invested into it. And that's, you know, that's going to be a lot of people's issue on this thing. So it's all good.
Yeah. The countless number of times I've heard people justifying theory as reality and wrapping their words around it like it's ever gonna. It's just, for me, it's water off a duck's back when you hear people justifying it over and over again. It's like, you're justifying this to you, not me. You know, you believe this, not me. So, you know, don't try and convince me that your theory is fact. You know, same with cosmology. It's just a cosmology. You know, you don't have to believe you're on a globe. Yeah, we do. It's absolutely certain. We must believe it. And it's like, no, you don't have to believe anything. You know, you're the ruler of your own world. You can believe whatever you like. Or at least I can. I know I can.
Yeah, and it'd be easier if you know, people would kind of live and let live at this point. But you know, a lot of people don't. A lot of people can. They'll just kind of attack you for having a different belief, which is, you know, this is strange in which is strange in for the most part in this society, because this is supposed to be this, you know, loving, generally accepting society where it's okay for a man to be with a man, it's okay for a man to dress up like a woman. For God's sake, in this society, you know, in the last couple years, in the last couple years, a man won Woman of the Year. So this is supposed to be an accepting society by nature. But as soon as you come out and say something that doesn't go along with the whole idea of this mainstream construct, then, you know, you're going to be attacked, which is just strange if you think about it. But I don't know, man. You know, I look at these things and I just consider how far we've seemed to have slipped as a society, because, you know, we get more ridicule for saying that the earth is flat. And one of the things that they say is that we're in some kind of cult. Sit back like, yeah, we're in a cult, that and what our job is to do is to free the minds of the people who are still involved in this you know, religion cult. All right. And but the thing is, we aren't the ones that express the cult like behavior, because one of the things about a cult, typically people are brought up in a cult from a young age, much like we are in this society, because we've all been born into this globe earth scientism indoctrination cult. And the parallel to what a cult is, we're an anti-cult, if anything. We're the ones who kind of broke free. And what cults do is, when someone decides that they're going to break free and think on their own, attacked by members of that are still part of that cult. You see what I'm saying? So you break free and you get your mind back and you say, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. And all of a sudden, those dogmatic cults will go after, you know, decided that they're going to look at other things, you know, be more open-minded and not go along with the traditional thinking of those who are still involved. So the enthusiasts, as it were, are the ones that express more cult-like behavior. So that's all I got to say about that aspect of it.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. It's more a realization of what you don't know, and the arrogance, and what you're describing with the people who are in the education system is kind of that, you know, that having a knowledge is it trumps anything that you can postulate, because they've been educated with it, therefore they are superior. But as a flat earther, for me, it's the ability to say, I know so little about where we live. You know, forget all the stuff I'm told. You know, I know very, very little about it. You know, I can still point out the contradictions. I can still point out the fake cosmology and the fakery. But ultimately speaking, there's some fundamental questions I had answers to prior to this that I don't have now. Why is the sky blue? You ask a globehead, they'll give you a very consistent answer. Ask a flat earther,
No.
they don't have an answer. And the fact that they can accept that, or I can accept that, I can only speak for myself, is to me, that's quite empowering. It's quite exciting to think, wow, there's loads to be discovered, where before, on the globe, it's like that scene in Truman Show when he says, oh, I want to go out and explore, and she pulls a map down and says, it's all been figured out. It's all been figured out. We don't need to figure anything new out. It's all been discovered already. You think, well, as a flat earther,
Right.
I've got the complete opposite opinion. There's loads to discover. Just at the top of the show, talking about circumnavigating the globe. The circumnavigation idea. That's something that, if you were still on the globe, you wouldn't care. You'd just be like, it's already been figured out. We know there's Antarctica down there. That's it. That's the end of the story. Flat Earth opinion. Wow, we might find more land. Actually, before I round out the behind the scenes bit, that was a question I didn't get in. Damn. It's because you had a crappy connection. We will do this again. I know we'll chat again. But what is your sort of preferred? I don't want to say cosmology. What's your or model? I'm gonna have to think of a new word. What do you reckon Earth is?
I'm still trying to figure this out myself, because I'm leaning more towards the flat Earth enclosed dome cosmology, and I've looked into that and on these things is from a common sense standpoint, and the common sense aspect is something that I actually was able to capture the other day is rainbows. Not an expert on how works all together, but if I understand correctly, you can't really create a rainbow indoors. If that's going to happen, there has to be moisture in the air, and there has to be a light source, and then there has to be a reflection of that light. So what I understand, or what I'm leaning towards, as far as my understanding, is that just that arch shape. The sun's up here. There's moisture in the air after it rains, and then there's this arch. There's that arch that you have to recognize, and you see it from every angle. You from where you are, you always see a rainbow, and I could be standing a quarter mile away, and I'm also going to see that same arch. We're all going to see that same arch from whatever different perspective, so we all experience it as if it's reflecting light from above back down. It just looks that way. It just looks that way, man.
Yeah, what you're describing with rainbows, I sometimes have to, depending on who I'm talking with, I have to conceptualize the sun being that way. In other words, it's going to be moving depending on where you're viewing it from. I don't necessarily hold this viewpoint by myself, but the way you're describing a rainbow in terms of how you get if you're here and you're looking at it, you're going to get the same view as someone over here who's looking at it. It's going to be the same, but you couldn't that's the word, you couldn't triangulate a rainbow. And I have to often get into that mindset when talking about the sun. But right. It's back to this. We're in a world of possibility where we can, even with things like the sun, most of the intellectually honest flat earthers will go, we don't know what it is. Got no idea. None. Might not even be there. Yeah. Might be in our imagination, literally.
Right. I mean, that's here, Nathan. That's what I say. That's my thing. That's the bottom line. At the end of the day, that's why I'm so passionate about this thing, is because we don't know where we are. I post this on my Facebook every now and then. I may say it in a video from time to time. I'm like, that's my big issue. We don't know where we are. We don't understand where we are. We don't understand the fullness of where we spend our entire existence, and that's a problem, in my opinion. And if we were to find a way to free ourselves from this system, from the the powers that shouldn't be, the controllers, the cabal, whatever you want to call them, the Jesuits, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call these guys, if we at some point can free ourselves from them, then maybe perhaps we'll have the flexibility to explore, study, and understand where we are. But we're not going to be able to do that until we're free. That's the problem. That's the whole linchpin of this system. If we can get free, if we can kind of dethrone these people and are able to move on from this control system, then we can have access to the Vatican archives. And they have miles of documentation that is general public. So, you know, if we could get in there, we could learn about our history. We could learn about what happened. We can learn about how we all got to this point. Some time, but you know, that's the issue right now. People are like, well, why don't you go to the ice wall and take a picture? You do understand that we aren't really free to go travel wherever we want to. You know, if we want to leave the United States, we have to get permission to do so through getting a passport. You know, there are certain countries, well, not countries, there are certain, well, yeah, countries too. You know, if I want to go from, you know, the United States to Mexico, I have to pass through this toll bridge, and they have to check my car. They have to check my ID to see. I mean,
yeah, the borders are real.
Know?
The borders are real, regardless of whether or not we want to pie in the sky ideas of travelling to Antarctica. Well, there's borders, there's restrictions, there's travel constraints which we have to abide by, you know, and that's because we are trapped in a system. You know, if we completely detach ourselves from that, well, we couldn't fuel the ships. We couldn't, you know, you couldn't do things that you would need. You need the system to a certain extent. So it's a fine balance. But I agree with your first part more than anything, which is that we shouldn't appeal to authority. You know, we shouldn't. I don't know if I agree with you. I shouldn't really disagree because you're the guest here. But you said, well, we could go to the Vatican Library.
It's okay.
But
it's okay.
It's the same as going. In my view, that would be the same as saying, well, we could just if we got access to NASA, then we could find out in a heartbeat, because NASA probably, or some people would say certainly, know the nature of our reality, and that's kind of buying into the appeal to authority. You know, I just think turn my back on it. You know, same with the Vatican and their library. How would you know that it wasn't the same systems of deception put into those historic documents? You just don't. But what you do know is your own eyes, ears, senses. You know, you can experience and discover these things for yourself, or you can come to your own conclusions. That's a better way of putting it, because it's not that I'm saying you ignore all information. We wouldn't say things like water at rest is flat unless we had, you know, taken on board a physics example and then tested it to our own satisfaction. But that would have had to have been done by someone else to begin with. In other words, you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There are certain things you can accept and hopefully test for yourself. But to take it to the extreme would be to say that, well, our captors, or captors is probably the wrong word, the people who are deceiving us, in this case NASA, we could literally go on, we could knock on their door and say, give us the answers, NASA, tell us where we really live. And, you know, I'm definitely not for that. You know, to a certain degree, I'm starting to become more of the opinion that even debunking them and saying, you know, look at this fraud, might be just as bad. You know, it's no such thing as bad publicity. Well, for NASA, we're still putting NASA logos up and talking about NASA. I don't know, for a psychopathic organisation, for me, no contact ever again would be the right approach. Just turn your back on them completely, never engage with them ever again. But this is a new opinion I'm forming, so maybe not put it out too much. I've had stick for it already.
Right. It's all good. My thing is, I mean, if we can some way or another free ourselves from this control system, whatever you want to call it, it's the financial system, the military industrial complex, or whatever, you know, then if we suddenly have the ability to go to Antarctica, then, you know, that'll, because either then we can get out there and we can, you know, head south, wherever south is, and then you know, we can actually check to see, you know, okay, there's an ice wall. All right, let's take pictures of it. Let's live stream it back. Okay. All right, now let's continue to go further, and we could just continue streaming all this to actually get some answers. But that's my thing. You know, we're not free to roam about. So that's kind of my thing. I'd so how do you see this going? How do you see this going as far as once everyone or the majority of people wake up to flat Earth? What do you think is gonna be the end result here?
Well, I think a breakdown of the systems that are in place that are non-beneficial systems. Most of the systems that are perpetrating the deception are going to benefit a certain group of people. And you've only got to, I think Russell Brand said this to Mark Sargent on his interview the other day, you've only got to look at who's got all the money to know who's benefiting from a system.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's all you've got to do. And the chances are those, I said it earlier, those psychopathic systems, for a start, they're deemed to fail. They're inevitably going to fail. They're based on lies. So they'll inevitably fail. That's my opinion. But to answer your question, what will happen when it fails? People will lose trust in the purveyors of those systems, which is disastrous for those systems and the people who depend on them. Depend on them to become ultra rich and ultra wealthy. And that's not us. That's the bottom line. 99.9% of people aren't in that category. And then you have the 1%ers, as they get phrased, that are astronomically rich by comparison to everyone else, even the people that we consider rich, the Tom Cruises and the film stars or the race car drivers, whatever. They are on the lower scale. They are closer to us in their financial wealth than the 1%ers, who are off the charts. They're just ridiculously wealthy, and they're the people who benefit from those systems. So they will they will stop benefiting if people realise that the people who are lying to us are lying, and that But I just don't think. I think it'll be more of a slow burn. For the most part, the programming itself, we don't get censored. Flat Earth doesn't get censored, and it's because the people who are perpetrating that lie or initiated that lie are long dead. They're well and truly gone.
Right.
So you're only left with people who benefit from the systems that are already in place. And whether or not they're fighting to keep them, I don't think they need to. I think they rely on the fact that it's such a well-crafted system that it protects itself. The individuals who are subject to the brainwashing will automatically try and defend that. But the numbers of flat earthers are increasing, and the number of people that are reaching the information is increasing. And I... in my humble opinion, think it is becoming exponential. In other words, people who may not have been exposed to it in any way, shape or form 2 years ago are just inadvertently coming across this information. I've had, it's weird when people tell you that they've heard, some interview that you did, and that's what woke them up to flat Earth. You're like, so I'm part of that exponential snowball now. You for certain, because you get loads of exposure. That's why I tried to talk about the sun. Yeah, it's a debunking. But there will be somebody who reads that article that's like you and I, that already knew it was flat. It was only at an unconscious level. And when they have the ridicule presented to them, which they may not have seen before, they may not have had any reason to have flat Earth ridiculed, they might start to question it. There's no such thing as bad publicity. So the fact that they're having to do damage control with hit pieces on yourself, I see that as nothing but positive. It will expose the idea of the different cosmologies that are out there to somebody who may not have been exposed to it before. So I think it's exponential. Right. I can't answer your question. I've danced around it for about 3 minutes now. I don't know what'll happen. I just don't.
Right.
I honestly don't know. I hope it would be simply a breakdown of the systems that are in place to perpetrate that deception, and the people who benefit from it will no longer benefit from it. Will that mean that we all take chunks of their non-benefit? Doubtful. But what can I get from it? I've already got it. I've already got the full benefit, as far as I'm concerned, of flat Earth, which is the ability to recognise that I can be my own judge. I don't have to take anything anybody says. I can discern for myself. I can investigate for myself. All of those good things have come off the back of a realization that I don't just take what I'm told as read. You don't just accept what you're being told as fact because somebody says it's fact on a television program. Flat Earth has expanded my mind in that regard. I would hope everybody gets the same, and it empowers everybody who comes across the information. It's just doubtful that it will.
Yeah. I certainly hope so. I certainly hope so. Man, I mean, seriously, what kind of what kind of systemic collapse would happen? We have to look at. Well, actually, we want to look at what may happen beyond the collapse of the system, and then kind of let me see, trying to kind of forecast beyond that, because we're going to more need more I don't know, more systems in place to replace what we have now. The healthcare system. We're going to need people online who can, come with the holistic healing. Although there have been a lot of forward and have presented holistic cures, and have ended up oddly jumping out of the second story of different windows and all that. It's all good, but we just need a way to replace the systems that are already out there, because they're just kind of not what am I thinking, parasitic,
Yeah.
to a degree, just kind of leeching off of people, and just taking advantage of individuals. And if we can find other systems to replace what we have now, as those systems collapse, they can be replaced with something better, something that's more beneficial to humanity. And that's that's more would take place. So if at all possible, I'd like to encourage people to kind of branch out to other movements and other that are uh kind of trying to look beyond what's going on now. There's a community called In Power, and what they're doing right now, they're working on spreading awareness, and they have a solution to the 5G smart grid that's being rolled out right now. Because this thing it's like these smart meters are being placed on people's homes, and what the smart meters do is, like, they can be clicked on, and then access all the smart devices within a certain area. So the smart meter pops on, and it can find your it can turn your phone on, and it can turn on the microphone, it can turn on the camera, and it can listen to what's going on in your home, if that smart meter is within that range. So there are people looking to expose that, and educate people on that, and come with a solution to a kind of neutralize state legislators and judges and all that, along the lines of rolling out legislation for that type of intrusive technology. So that's the Empower movement. And I just listened to an interview by this guy, Max Egan. Listening to him, he has a channel on YouTube called The Crow House. And yeah, I've been listening to him. He has a lot of interesting points of view on things, and I'll just listen to him. He has a show he does every week. It's about 55 minutes per video, but it's been really good, what I've heard. And yeah, I'm a fan of Max Egan and his ideas, and he kind of talks flat Earth from time to time, but we just need to branch out to these other communities, if you know what I mean. There's other people who are looking to provide electricity, and give sort of blocks of instruction as to how to make those things happen. There are people who have gotten into healing through vibration. There's these guys who have come up with 0 point energy, I believe it was called, and old technology. that was found by a man back in, I believe, the 20s. I forget his name. But what he did, he found the frequency of viruses on a microscopic level, and he would uh, fire the resonant frequency through these molecules or through these bacteria or virus or whatever, and it would pretty much shatter the shell, and that would pretty much heal anything. You know, he had a situation set up where he had, you know, subjects that all had cancer, and he would use this technology to heal the people using that frequency and all that. And he had about an 80% success rate in all his subjects. And then the for the 20%, he made some tweaks to the technology, the apparatus, and all that, and then came back. The remaining 20% came back, and they were all healed. So he had a 100% success rate with that. There are people who are working on that type of technology right now. If, you know, some way or another, we, the flat earth community, could link up with the truth community as a whole, and then we can link up with those guys who are doing that. We can link up with these people who are into aquaponics, and these people who are into, you know, building tiny homes and all that. We could put this whole new structure in place to replace this that's kind of sprung up all around us. So it's kind of out there, but I can dream, can he?
Yeah, this is going to be what's in your next video, from what you were saying on the Google Plus stream. That's your the subject of your next vid.
No, I'm not. I haven't planned on talking about that in my next video. Well, that's not going to be my next video. That won't be in my next video. That one, the one I was talking about, as far as doing the idea of uniting the
Purple pillars.
That's a project that's gonna next you know, in the next month or so, maybe.
I was going to say, well, that's
I
encouraging.
just got to do
because
some more work on it.
That's more than just a video's worth of work, isn't it? That's a pretty big, you know, getting it out to the people like Max, to be honest. So Max, you know, he's been on Globebusters debating against flat Earth, and yeah, he might bring it up from now and again, but it's one of those. Just before we go, you're on your phone now. Is there any chance you can give us a walk around of your van?
I sure could. I believe so. Let me see what percentage this phone's at. We're at about 45%. I think I can make it around the van without this thing cutting off on me. Let me see. All right. All right. So, here we are. Boom. Outside the van, we're out at Lowe's. Okay, so here's the van right here. On this, it says just Google D-Marble, hashtag FE offensive. Right here, you know, Earth's surface is 71% water. Bodies of water do not curve, therefore the Earth is flat. You know, and we got I had to put the Flat Earth offensive sticker right here. Magnet. A friend of mine ordered that and gave it to me. Research flat Earth. You've been lied to. So if I ever get stuck in traffic, somebody's got to read this the whole time. And they might actually research flat Earth if they get stuck behind me. So I got the same thing. Bodies of water do not curve and all that on this side also. And then out here, and these are my two favorite right here. I got the Flat Earth Washington sticker. That from a guy Tyson at one of these Flat Earth meetups. He's probably going to make some calls and hook up another one soon. And then, you know, there's the sticker right there. These are my two favorite stickers out of all these. And I haven't gone to any of these places, maybe one or two, but and yeah, that's the van. Can't show you the rest of the van on the inside because, you know, it's kind of a mess. You know, on the weekends I'll get to doing my projects and all that, and I'll kind of track of time, and I'll just be throwing stuff around, and it'll get kind of messy. But yeah, that was the external tour.
So what kind of van is it?
Of the
What is it?
It's let me see. Let me see. It's a Chevy 350. No. Hold up. It's a Chevy G20. That is. I was thinking about a 350 engine. My bad.
So, oh right, so is it
95.
what is the engine? I like cars.
Yeah. Oh, it's a 350. It's a 350.
Oh, it's got a V8 in it.
And I was right. Well, I was looking at it, and there are some people who have converted to hydrogen. They supplement hydrogen for their van, or not van, for their engine usage, and they can pretty much cut their gas mileage in half by doing so. So I've but I don't want to like create a hydrogen bomb out here and take out half of Tacoma. So I'll have to get with someone who's a little more vehicle/tech savvy than myself for that.
Cool, man. I'm so jealous. You're out. You're in nature. You got your V8. What could be better? So cool. I'm gonna say a massive thank you to you, D Marble. I'm gonna round out the OBS stream now. I've got what I wanted. Got to hear all about your flat Earth stuff. Got to see your van. I'm chuffed. I'm made up, mate. Really, really pleased. So thank you so much for doing the stream. I'm really happy.
Oh, not a problem. I felt like we needed to hang out for a little bit longer now that I finally got my audio and video all squared away. But so, yeah, we can do this another time if you'd like. And maybe we can have a full stream while it's all live and put up some links on my YouTube and all that good stuff.
Well, it won't be long before I'll see you like being streamed from the conference. So that'll be exciting. You'll be doing a talk or the Q&A, and you'll see yourself up on one of the big screens, and I'll be watching it at this end. So can't wait.
Yeah, I'm freaking out, man. And people think that I'm like in this to get famous. In actuality, I was just kind of forced into the spotlight, and sorry there, validation boy. Wow, son, I don't know what to tell you. So, it is what it is. I'm not out here for fame, but if people are digging how I, get my message out, then that's just something you have to deal with. Sorry, but
the reason you're getting exposure, the reason you're getting noticed, is because you're cool. Now, I don't know what Validation Boy said to you in the chat, but he's just jealous. You're cool. I can recognise that. 90% of the people in the chat recognise that you're cool. That's why people notice you. But just soak it in, man. It's awesome. I think it's good.
No. I can't. No, I don't. I'm not gonna get the big head out here because I know how big a screw up I am. But if people think I'm cool, I'm like, all right, that's cool with me. No, Mr. Putnam, I'll be flying into North Carolina. I get in around midnight on the 8th. We'll hang out, man. Looking forward to seeing everybody at the conference, man. It's gonna be a good time.
Good segue for me to say thank you as well. So to all of you who have joined us, me and D Marble this evening, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in both the chat rooms. But alas, all good things have to come to an end, and this is going to be the end of this behind the scenes OBS stream. So be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe. I've been Nathan Oakley. Once again, big thank you to D Marble. I'll see you all in the next video.